Okay, so here we go again. Can you believe it? We're doing another American yoga. I can't believe it. So it seems like it's gonna really keep continuing. Okay. So anyway, I hope everybody's doing fine. Like I said, this is another, and happily that this is another um, YouTube for American yoga. And we're going to cover so many things. We already covered a lot of things. And this is the seventh year. So picture yourself in any school or any class or any kind of degree. Can you imagine if you studied it for 7 years, how much you would learn? Okay, so I'm getting you ready. Now today we're going to develop our space. Okay, we talked about it a long time ago about space and how we wouldn't be able to do anything fun or anything without space. Okay, and I remember mentioning something like this. Okay, yes, you can move your arm like this, you move your arm like this, and you can dance and everything, but you never think about your space because we put everything together and then we just do it the hardest way, okay? Without understanding what space is and how, and even not even having our own personal space developed. So now we're going to start developing our space. It takes a long time, okay, to get to this point. But just think, after 20 years, what you will have become if you continue with. And I have to plug this American yoga because that's the way it is. Okay, so that people can be interested. So let's talk about space. We talked about it before. And I said in the beginning that I want you to recognize to bring your space closer in. And what I mean by bringing your space closer in, because now the only thing we do mostly is see something and then we find it. We get it some kind of way, okay? And we use our eyes most of the time to get things. But in all honesty, what we see is not, we see light. I mean, our eyes show us light, okay? Because we can close our eyes and that's it. I mean, everything that we need, we can't see. But now we're going, and I expressed this before about bringing more, understanding our space that we're surrounded with. I mean, we wouldn't be able to do this, we wouldn't be able to do this, we wouldn't be able to dance, okay? I mean, we can dance now, but just say, and we can do exercises now, but we don't have our personal space. We don't understand our personal space. So this is about space. And like we talked about long time ago before, and it's very important. So what are we going to use in space? Well, the last time we did this, we did the X and Y. And the X and Y and the Z is going to help you to develop space. I remember, let's see, the shortest, we did the line before, okay? So let's do a line, let's do 3 lines, okay? So I'm gonna do a line, everybody, we already talked about how we do it, but it's not gonna be as long, just so I can see it in this screen. So we have the X and the Y. Should I explain that? No, this is like a little review before I explain everything that's happening, okay? So we're gonna go, okay, this is X, this is X, small x, and we're gonna have to use, I'm not gonna say it now, but minuscule and majuscule, okay? So we're gonna use that later on for the x's, but now I'm just gonna say it, small x, y, okay? So I can say like x, y, okay? forward, and there's a word, there's no, I guess I could say a word or a description, a different word for it, but now we're just going to say Z forward, because there's a Z word forward and there's a Z back, okay? And Z measures this, okay? So now we're going to go up Z, okay? Up, not say up Z, but Z forward. Then we're going to Y, X, Y, X, Y, X, Y, X. Z forward, X, Y, X, Y, X, Y. And then Z forward, Y, X, Y, X, Y, X. Okay? So what we had just done is we're developing space. Okay? And we use scales. Last time, okay, I explained to you scales. Scaling or scales. Scales is like when you do, like on your piano, you play scales to get to know the different notes that you can play. And you can play scales, and it strengthens your ability to see the what you can do in music, and also you can sing in scales also. And it's pretty hard, but the thing that makes it the hardest is that what are you doing when you do scales, okay? But we're not going to answer that question, but we're going to answer the question in our realm that we're speaking in now. And this is the realm of the algebra that we talked about and everything. We're in a realm where we're learning the realm of the powers in American yoga, okay? So we do scales. There's scales in music that we do, and I'm not going to stress what you're doing when you do scales. I could do that, but it's not really talked about in music what you're actually doing. So I'm not going to express. I could figure it out, but I'm not going to do that because we're not going to talk about music right now, but we're talking about American yoga. So when we do the scales, that one that I just did, we're developing space. So now we're not going to talk about scales. Now we're developing space, okay? But we're using scale to develop space, if you understand your last lesson. Okay, so now we made, when we did that, did we automatically get space? No, okay? There's a lot of things that happened. And remember, we're in the function, and because we're in the function, we don't need points, okay? Because in the beginning, we had so many points in our mind, and we got to a point, which I said before, that the squares that we were working with disintegrated, and they were real squares. I mean, because we see squares all the time. It's very important, okay? Like when we walk down a block, we use the squares, especially in America. We're obsessed with squares, okay? We see squares, I mean, literally, we use squares for everything, okay? And when we walk down the stairs, lines, squares, same thing, that's what I'm talking about. But we disintegrated the scale, the squares, okay? I can say that when you're not working in the function, you need squares. The function doesn't need the squares, but we need the squares. But now we're in the function and we don't need the squares. So we get perfect measurement, our perfect measurement. So let's see how we're measuring this. We need to measure things. Measurement, I can actually almost say measurement, measuring, and space. Measuring gives you space. I can make it a little bit better, but I just realized that, okay? How is the measurement? It's perfect measurement. The reason why I'm saying it's perfect measurement, because you're not using any lines, you're inside the function. So that means when you go from here to there, you actually lived from here to there. You didn't use this point and this point. You went from here and you went to there. And that's a perfect measurement, okay? Because it's everything that's involved with within that measurement, okay? I keep thinking about this one thing. I remember when I was, this is like maybe 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, I was in my apartment in Denver, and I had all these squares that I kept trying to figure out, okay? And I noticed that, and this is what happened when the squares disintegrated, okay? It's like when you have a square, there's something in the square. The square is made up of so many things. We have lines, we have corners, then we have space in between. We have space in the square. And not just that, when the space in the square, what is it made of, the square? Is it on a paper, okay? Is it on the floor? Is it on the wall, okay? So we don't have to worry about all those things because now we are in the function. And we're living this, what's in the function? Is it a square? Okay, we don't know yet because we have to measure. And the measurements is going to develop our space. I'm almost thinking, but I'm not going to go there yet to say measurements and space is the same thing. Although there's a finer definition that's going to develop for my next class. I'm almost sure. I've been doing this for a long time. So now, let's see, because we did the X and the Y, okay? We did the X and the Y, and we did the Z, okay? So now, we have to go even further in, and we have to figure out, well, what happened between X and Y when we were doing X and Y. And this is going to lead us into what happens when we make one measurement, okay? So now, we're in the between quadrant, okay? I am going to scale what we call skyscraper, okay? And I'm not going to show you how it looks, but I'm going to be able to explain to you what happens while we're measuring, okay? And it's a lot. It's like if you see a square on a paper, well, the paper had to be made. It goes this deep. The paper that you see, there's one square that you see on a paper. You have the square, but the square is on a paper. And how did you get that paper? Wow. The paper had to be made, okay? It had to be a printer. All these things that had to happen in order for you to take advantage, to take for granted, to see a square on a piece of paper or on a wall, okay? Okay, so now we're going to understand what happens when we do that scaling, okay? And while I'm going to explain to you what happens, but we're also going to scale something. We're also going to measure something, okay? And we're going to measure what we would call skyscraper, okay? The skyscraper is made, another thing that we went through. We ever heard of 2 times, in mathematics you go 2 times 2. And you know, I'm not going to say that because it's just something that was really cute that I learned. I guess I can say it. I was doing I was studying mathematics, and I learned that 2 plus 2 is 4, and 2 times, I'm afraid to say this because I just can't believe it. And then 2 times 2 times is 4, and 2 plus 2 is 4. And that's just the way my mind works. It's just like blew my mind away. What I took for granted, and then you see it, okay? That's very important what I'm telling you, okay? Like I said, 2 times is 4, and 2 plus 2 is 4, and it just like blew my mind, okay? The reason why I'm saying this is because I said a long time ago, I don't know how many years, maybe like 4 years ago or something like that. We had to. I told you that that saying 2 times 2 is. Oh no, I can't use that because. Okay. Oh, I can say that. I can say 2 times 2, and 2 times 2 are different in a way that you're using 2 different 2's. The first 2 is 1, 2. The second 2, you do it the second time, which makes 4. But let's use a different number. Let's say 2 times 3. So you would have, so what I'm trying to tell you is we have to start developing that. So when we say 2 times 3, as soon as we say 2, we put 2. And then we have 3. 2, 2, 2. So 2 times 3. And it's very important to understand this concept in American yoga, because we can say 2 times 4, and that's 2, 2, 2, 2. Okay? Now, what if I said 4 times 2? Well, that means we have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you understand what I'm talking about, that means that in American yoga, 2 times 2 and 4 times 2 is totally different things. Why? Because you're physically doing it. It's information. 2, I can have 2, and then 2, and then 2, and then 2. That's 4. But then, so that's 2 times 4. But if I want to have 4 times 2, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then another time 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's just to let you know that, because we're going to use that soon. So that was something that we did a long time ago, but I'm talking mostly to people who have finished these videos for 7 years, okay? And I don't see it that many people, but maybe I'm talking to the future. Hi! Okay, so now, the reason why I said that, because we're going to explain what happens in this measurement, and it's a lot to do the skyscraper. The skyscraper goes like this. It's like 2 times this. So the skyscraper moves in Z. Remember what I told you in Z? It moves in Z. So when I say Z, that means you're going to see that. Okay? Back and up. Okay? So now, we're back to what happens in developing space. Okay? So, and we're using all the things that we use up until now. So now we have weight. Remember when we talked about weight? Okay, so we have weight. Okay? And then we have, everything is going to work together. We have the other quadrant, and we have the right quadrant or the natural quadrant. Okay? When I say right quadrant, you already know that it doesn't mean right and left. Okay? Because we don't have right and left. We have X and Y. And X and Y is not in the algebra, but it's going to develop our space. Okay? So here we go. So we have the weight. And I said this before. The weight congeals. I'm almost sure I could use that word. Congeals, or comes together. Okay? When I say it comes together, it can't move further, so it forms like a gel type thing. And if you keep holding it, it will turn into something like butter. Okay? So I'm going to say congeal. Okay? So what is congeal in American yoga? It means that weight has moved and stopped moving to where it's formed another force. I can say it's formed into, I'm just going to say congealed. That's what I'm going to say, okay? In American yoga. Don't tell me about any other thing. That's what we're going to use, congealed, okay? So we have this weight that's congealed, and we have this weight that's congealed, but we need something else. So now we have the quadrants, and now I talked about the weight congealing. It moves and then congeals. Well, how in the hell does it move? Well, then we have the control. The control moves the weight. So we have the control. The control is moving the weight. So we've always said, do this, and then the person would do this. Do this, and then the person would do this. But it's more deeper in American yoga. You just don't say do this, okay? So now we have the weight congealed. We're going to move it. I just told you what we're going to do. What the control moves the weight. The control moves the weight. Okay? So that's the one thing that happens. Okay? But now we have to move. Okay. Another thing too is not just moves, but it directs. There's something. Let me see if my thing is ready. Oh wow, I think it's ready. Okay, so I'm gonna have to finish this just pretty soon because I have something on the oven. Okay, so now I got something in my eye too now. Oh wow. Okay, so anyway, so now we have it congealing and it moves. The control moves. Now, what else do we have to do? Now we have to, in order to move, we need X and Y. So we're going to use X to move to Y. So we have X, and to make it small, I'm just say X, Y, X, Y. So X, Y. Okay. And then, okay, so that's, okay, that is a complete movement for the skyscraper. So let's do it again, okay? So we have the weight. I'm not going to say, because you're going to have to go over this and over this, because it's been said before, but now we're putting everything together. And I'm going to do the skyscraper, okay? So it has, the weight is in 3. I'm going to move the weight. It's like picking up, let's say this, okay? This is an example. It's like doing this, okay? And then I'm going to pick up the weight and do this. And then I'm going to pick up the weight and then I'm going to do this. Okay? But you're going to know by the time you get to this point. It's good to see it, but you have to know it. It has to be known with your knowledge that I'm talking about now. You're just not doing things like we did before. You're just not copying me. You know what's happening. It's like, okay, like I said, okay, we have the weight here. It's going to congeal. Okay, it's just like here. Okay, this is moving. Okay, the weight is moving because I'm moving it. Okay, not just that, I'm directing it. And now I'm going to put it down and it's congealed. Okay, now I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to put it here. Okay, and now I'm going to pick it up and I'm going to put it here. Okay? So that's another thing that's happening. Okay? So now we're going to do the skyscraper. And you know everything that I said. Okay? Oh, okay. Okay. Now, that was the skyscraper. And if you can look at that and figure it out, you're doing great. But take your time. It's going to take a while, maybe like 20 years.